Welcome back to Key West Waterman, boys and girls. My name is Aaron Young. If this is your first time to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button and leave me some comments. I love comments. Love hearing from you guys what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, what you liked and disliked, all that good stuff. Today, I'm going to go over my kind of reef setups, the two guns that I shoot most often. If you don't know, grouper season is about to open here in Key West every year from January 1st to April 30th. The grouper closes in Gulf and Atlantic state waters and in Atlantic federal waters. They close grouper, which I think is great. It's great for the population. It really helps out. The winter time is when groupers do their spawning on the reef, so it really allows them to do what they need to do to keep the population healthy. So I'm happy about that. But before I dive in, just a thought. Just because these are the guns that I shoot do not mean that they're the right guns for you. I think even I'm guilty of it. When I first started this years and years ago, I had a tendency to listen to people that dove more than me and that I thought were more experienced than myself. I thought if I got what they had, I'd be this incredible diver, and it turned out that not everything's right for everybody. So this is not the right way. This is not the right equipment necessarily for you. It could be, but just don't think that it absolutely is going to be. These are my two reef guns. I want to kind of compare them and then show you the subtle differences and why I use them and when I use them. I'll start with this guy. This is the one that I shoot most. Just under 53 inches. It's about 52 inches. It's made of teak. Both of these guns are actually teak laminates. I built them myself years and years ago. About every 2 or 3 years I sand them down and refinish them. They held up pretty well. You can see this guy needs some refinishing, but they're both made of teak. They both have poured epoxy tracks. They're both enclosed. This guy, like I said, is about 52 inches. I shoot this more often than not. Two bands, 5/16, or 5/8, excuse me. The shaft is 5/16. Single flopper. Got an Ulu sub reel on here. This is 50 meters. You normally aren't going to need more than 50 meters on the reef. If a wahoo swims by, you might be in trouble, but I normally don't ever need more than 50 meters on the reef. All the mechanisms and whatnot in here, the line release, the triggers, the handle, everything, all the way up is from Neptonics. They sell pretty much everything you need to build a gun. Like I said, I did it years and years ago. These are still kicking. It's a little corrosion on them, but I dive more in a year than most people dive in 5 years. And everything seems to be holding up just fine. Like I said, two 5/8 bands. Shaft is 5/16 single flopper. I'm repeating myself here, but I typically shoot this on the reef more than this guy. This gun is what you would call I think they refer to it as a rear handle plus. I call it a mid handle, and what that means is the trigger itself, the handle, is different where the trigger mechanism is. There's a push rod here that makes this trigger push the actual trigger mechanism, and it just gives you a little more band stretch and what that does. And the reason we do that is this guy is actually longer than the banana gun, but the banana gun has more band stretch. So technically, a little bit of a shorter gun has a little more bang for its buck, essentially. So I think that's about everything on that guy. So this is the sister gun. I built it pretty much around the same time, little different shape. This one's about an inch longer, but like I said, it has less band stretch. And again, band stretch is the amount of power you're going to have. The power and the length of a shot a gun can handle is determined by its band stretch and number of bands. So from here to the end of these shark fin tabs is about 43 inches on this one. On the banana gun, because that trigger mechanism is farther back, I get a little more band stretch. So I'll try to show you here. So if I line the bands up right there, you can see this trigger mech is a little farther back than this guy. Just gives me about 3 inches extra band, just a little more power. Now, I shoot this guy mainly if I'm hunting really deep. It has a bigger reel if we're doing deep wrecks. Sometimes I'll clip it off. It actually has a tuna clip here. Sometimes I'll clip it off on a buoy for pelagics just as a backup. One of the main differences is double flopper for bigger fish, deeper fish around the wrecks. If you shoot something big in a wreck, you really need to horse it so it doesn't get rocked up. So I like the double flopper on there. And this is actually what's called a rear handle. The handle's all the way to the back of the gun, and the handle and the trigger are aligned. They are together. Not like this guy. The handle's farther forward. Like I said, mid handle or rear handle plus, I think is what some people call it. Again, Ulu sub reel. This one is actually, I believe, 90 or 100. I think it's 90 meters. But essentially the same gun. I single wrap all my reef guns. I see people double and triple wrap reef guns. Please do not do that. In one of my older videos, I measured out what a single wrap actually equates to as far as shot length. I believe it was over 20 feet, and you're not making a 20-foot shot on a reef gun unless you've got 5 bands on it for some reason, which I don't know why you'd have that anyways. The lines on each reel are different. On this guy, this is a Aussie reel Dyneema. I believe it's 1.9 millimeter. There's Spectra on here. I prefer the Dyneema, but I've had this Spectra and it just keeps lasting, so I'm not going to replace it. From shaft to the actual connection here, I prefer these pigtails. I have a snap swivel on here because around wrecks and deeper rocks, these are a lot easier to get undone. Say a fish, the snap swivel, say a fish gets rocked up, gets run through the wreck, I can unclip that a lot easier at depth. But I do like these snap swivels a little better. I've seen these actually straighten out before. But got single wrap. Again, I think 1.9 Dyneema. It's from Aussie Reel or Aussie Line or whoever they call it. The connections. Another reason I switched from mono to Dyneema is I just tie these knots. This is actually just a bowline. I tie one there and a bowline there. I've never had any issues. I haven't changed this Dyneema in probably a year and a half, and it's still kicking. Same thing with that bowline. Same shaft on this guy, 5/16, 2 5/8 bands. Essentially, they're pretty similar guns. Like I said, main differences here are double flopper, single flopper. Double flopper I like for bigger, deeper fish around wrecks that I can horse, just in case. I've had big fish break these floppers off. And then the other difference is rear handle and a mid handle. Personally, I like a little bit of mid handle, and the reason being, when I'm tracking a fish, I have a little more here to grab onto, and it allows me to kind of pivot that gun like that. A little easier to track. Rear handles are fun too. If you like shooting just single-handedly, this is gonna be too heavy for me to hold out single-handedly. Another advantage to rear handle is you get a little more reach. You're putting that gun a few more inches closer to that fish when you make that shot. So, but that's all I got for this episode. Grouper season is about to open in a few days. I'm very excited. I'm filming. I've got a great crew coming with me. If you guys have any other questions, hopefully I covered the majority of these. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments, and look forward to that grouper opener video. I'm so pumped. It's been 4 months since I've been able to shoot a grouper. We've just been watching them swim around, so very excited. Should be some good content. But as always, I do appreciate your guys' time. Again, any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will see you guys shortly for grouper opener. Thanks again. Later.